Hey guys, I wanted to do some spooky, scary stories. Not really scary to me, just some ghost stories for the Halloween spirit. You know, um, I think in the last one I mentioned I wanted to tell some Galveston ghost stories that people had told me. Really, little stories that stuck with me. You know, I do have another channel. It is the Paranormal Mystic Tarot, which of course I knew was going to take off faster because so many people are so thirsty for reflection and genuine love. Most people can't get advice from those they know because those they know always have agendas, which is ridiculous. So, um, but I want this channel to be, about paranormal, supernatural, cryptids, mysticism, metaphysics, because I just want to be around like minded people. It may take longer for me to have this channel growing, but it is harder to find people that care about the same things. And, I live in a very remote location now. It's not like I live in the Houston area anymore where it's easy. So, okay. Now, this one is probably going to be the best one. I know a lot of people say them for last, but I'm not because I love it. So when we were doing ghost tours, let me see, this is probably in 2012, 2013, something like that. And, we had a bad hurricane come through Galveston. We got like no attention for this at all. It's like everyone else gets attention when they're destroyed by hurricanes, but it's like Galveston and Houston, it's just like, it's just Texans. I don't know. We took in tons of people for Katrina and everything else, and ICAP happens, and it's like crickets. But anyway, I had a whole group of first responders, paramedics, firemen on one of my tours one night. And there's at one point where you kind of all line up and you talk about certain things, like the famous face on the, I forget what, UTMB or some building. There's this weird face there that, the whole town knows about. And we talk about it in this one part of the tour, right? Well, anyway, they all stopped and they were like, oh, we got to tell you this story. And I was like, okay. So one of the new guys that worked for the, I guess the hospital, whatever, they're in an ambulance, and they're driving the seawall during Hurricane Ike because they're just trying to make sure there's nobody out. Most people have been evacuated. A few people opted to stay, and the guy sitting in the passenger seat said, "Are they supposed to be here?" And the driver said, "Who?" And as they're driving past them. And he turns around and he looks and, it's kind of like they faded out or something. And I think if they tried to go back around, of course, they're not going to see it. You know how you see people so fast, right? Well, anyway, he said those nuns and those kids. And the driver was like, oh, shit. Because, anyone that's been to Galveston long enough and all the BOIs, they know about the nuns. During the Great Storm in 1900, these nuns had tied the orphans. They were put way out where their Walmart is now. I don't know if it's still there because I haven't been there in a decade almost. That's crazy, isn't it? Okay, so it's like the orphans were treated like, ooh, like you're just orphans. You know how snobby things were in the Victorian days, like the separatism between like the poor and the rich was so extreme. So they were put way out there. At the time, all the population of Galveston was on the east end. So now it doesn't look like Walmart's that far out because of, more people now. And a lot of people joke around about the toy section, which I'm sure it's been moved by now, but like things are always getting moved around the toy section in the Walmart because of the orphanage there and the kids that died. Well, anyway, during the storm, the nuns apparently had tied ropes to themselves and the children. And when they found the bodies, some of them had been washed up all the way to the top of the bay, which is very, very far from the island itself. And they'd find like one kid or one nun and pull it up. And then they'd keep pulling the rope and there's another one and another one and another one. And it's the only way the nuns knew how to keep up with the kids because the storm hit in the dark. You couldn't see anything, and it was a horrible, horrible, horrible disaster. And anyway, when the paramedic driver heard that, he's like, "Oh shit! You don't know those are not real. Those are ghosts. Like there's no way they're real people." And the guy's like, "What?" He's like, you don't know about the nuns and the orphans? Like, they tell the guy, right? And because he didn't know, I guess that's why it was so easy for him to see it. If other locals had seen it, they would know flat out that they were ghosts, right? Oh, so spooky. It is so spooky. You feel so bad every time you think about them, those nuns and everything. um, Another one was during the storm too, and that was it? One guy, these paramedics also told me this story too. That one guy decided to stay in his house. He didn't want to leave. And during the Hurricane Ike. And you guys remember like, I know ghosts like to come out at anniversaries and things, but also, storms and stuff, they have this electrical energy. You feel it. You see lightning every, you get the tingles and everything. I think it's a lot easier for spirits to manifest, and definitely because it was another big hurricane, these spirits are coming out. So I have actually felt sometimes the storms like, oh yeah, the spirits are going to be active tonight because it's real electric feeling, But anyway, this one guy decided to stay, and surprising, a lot of the houses in the interior of the island didn't flood because they've done a really good job of, building the island up. Downtown did, but anyway, he left the big door open, just the storm door closed, I guess, just thinking, oh, well, it's not that bad right now, He sees someone walking in the front yard. He takes a closer look and realizes this person's like his pants, his shirt, everything's like ripped to shreds, almost like the way you imagine like a wolf man when he comes back into human form. Dirty, nasty, and he really looking, and he realized this is not even close from our time period. He freaked the fuck out, locked his doors, closed all his windows, and went and hid like in his bedroom under the covers. Like, he wasn't scared of the storm, he was scared of the spirits. Yeah. I was like, that's kind of cool. I don't know. I wouldn't have been scared, but it's weird how many people that live on the island, they know there's ghosts there. They don't want nothing to do with them. I have not met a single BOI that has not had a supernatural encounter. It's just common knowledge there, One person I knew said that, as a kid, he's seen ghosts just come up to the window, just staring at you. Then they disappear. No big deal. One lady, that she used to always sit down at the, what do you call it? I don't know. It's like a convenience store. We used to have a convenience store on the Strand that was like a gas station without gas, right? A lot of the locals that live up in the lofts like to come down and just chit chat. Well, one lady even said, oh yeah, I've had a ghost, because I like to ask the locals sometimes, stuff. I was driving on the Harborside Road, I think, by the trains. And she said, this guy runs out in front of me and disappears. Like, she's like, I ran through him, like I drove through him. Just one time, I had a kid run up to us, and he was working at the Old Strand Emporium. Now, they have moved it since then. And he was like, I need y'all's help. Y'all work for the ghost tours, right? And we were like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I just had another jelly jar thrown at me, and I'm really sick of it. And he starts going on this rant because apparently the ghost in that place did not like him. I don't know why, but he's sick and tired of getting jelly jars thrown at him. This is all all this stuff was so normal there. I want to see, I don't know if, oh, yeah, I'll tell one more little thing. This was actually another thing that people came and told me about. It actually was not on the island, kind of close to it. Maybe Santa Fe or somewhere. They worked at some Catholic like hospital type of thing. They did hospice. They were nurses for some Catholic group. And they were talking about how like, I think it was like hospice, but yet it was like a building. Like, it wasn't like in the person's home. It was like a hospice building where people would come to die, right? Well, anyway, they said that the stuff that they've seen, I mean, they know that's one reason why they want to do the ghost tours. First off, sometimes people go do ghost tours just simply so they can tell their story, because no one will listen to them, And then also, I think they wanted to hear more of the supernatural things that went on the island, because they've experienced so much. I mean, honestly, I wish more paramedics and nurses and doctors and people would come out and talk. We not long ago, I went to a doctor and he showed us a picture of a ghost he got, I think in Little Rock, that he had seen, and he knew when the person died. And that's another story. But anyway, these hospice nurses said that when their patients would get really, really close to death, the variety of things that happened would vary. Sometimes it was extremely like dark and aggressive type energy when the person was passing and crossing over, especially people who are not saved. And by that, I mean, if you watch enough NDE experiences, you see that you don't have to be a very religious person to go to heaven, but you do have more chances of having a negative experience upon death if you are in a negative frame of mind. And that's what some of these people are saying. If it's someone who's like not saved, or who just like won't let go of things, of people who are bitter, unforgiving, angry, negative, if they're in that really negative frame of mind when they start to die, it's like things get real, man. Like they've seen bodies levitate. Have you ever heard of that? Bodies levitate and floating when they're about to die? That's insane. They would see these bodies levitate. Cabinets would start slamming, like wind would be in the room. Everything is like slamming back and forth, opening and closing. And I mean, come on, we all know, come on, these hospitals and things, they're not like, it's weird that public don't know this stuff. You know, this is the kind of stuff that I feel like is bullshit that is not more openly discussed. It's one reason why I want to do this channel. There's too much that's suppressed. It's not even healthy for us to deny death, to deny the other side, to deny reality. You know, truth is stranger than fiction. People have seen what look like hellhounds and dogmen, which I want to do an episode on that. People have seen Bigfoot. People have seen ghosts, UFOs. I want to do my UFO story soon too. I have seen some. So anyway, the thing is, you know, okay, the scary stuff that happened with negative people dying, they said it was horrible. And the look in their eyes, they're clearly seeing, like, they're scared. They're crying for help because they're seeing what looks like demons to them. You know, I mean, it makes you want to get real with yourself and not be basically an asshole, right? You don't want to die going out like that. People that were on their deathbed who were saved and who were loving and kind and had a big heart, loved their family, as they started to die, they'd see family members and angels, and their eyes would be glowing. They'd be happy, ecstatic. You know, they start talking to people you can't see in the room. You know, so they see beautiful experiences of people that that went peacefully. You know, they didn't mention a lot of paranormal activity with those who went peacefully. You know, sometimes you might smell beautiful smells like flowers, or you might see bright kind of fuzzy light, things like that. But you know, most of the negative experiences they saw were with people who were very in a very dark place. You know. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys tonight. I love you and I bless you. Until next time.